I'm so much more tan than you are. It's ridiculous.
Right, but you've been away. I've been in Scotland. Give me
It's not like Scotland is immune
however
from
many days
sunshine.
over in whatever 19 of one of the 19 countries that you've been to in the last 6 months.
Look, I'll tan in winter in Scotland. It's a vitamin D thing.
Oh, actually, come to think of it, so my sister done that. What's that thing called with the genetic thing when you find out what part you are?
What part you
Right,
are? Where in the world you're from?
Where'd you come from? Where'd you go?
Where'd you come from, Cat? I know what you're on about. I don't know what it's called. But where's she from?
Well, Italy.
Oh, well, Italy.
Well, Italy.
Well, so you should have a...
So I need to do it because Tommy got it from my best mate got it for my birthday. So here we go, right? So 26.9% Scandinavian.
Oh, really? Well, that's you, or that's your
Me?
sister?
Well, sister, but it'll be the same for me.
I suppose.
You know, because we're.
You hope so.
So yeah, how you been?
I've been good. The season is now pretty much well underway. I had my wedding sort of break, and then so that was like 2 months off, and now June begins, and it's like just full on wedding, which is great, but it's like I felt like I had a little too much of a break that I've got to warm myself up to it again. It's like winter.
Yeah, I get that.
When you haven't done it in a while and you feel a bit rusty. But I mean, the wedding at the weekend was so fun. People were so energetic. They gave me a different brief. They challenged me to throw in themes from the US office.
Okay,
And
that's
so
cool.
I actually scripted part of their wedding, which is so unnatural to do, but it meant like getting the bridesmaids to like sort of say a couple lines, and they were totally up for it. The groomsmen maybe weren't up to it so much, but
Yeah, the girls are always up for it, aren't they?
Always
It's the
up for a good
guys.
laugh.
The guys just go.
they just didn't want to like embarrass themselves. But I
Yeah.
did get some guy to walk in tissue paper boxes later in the
that's
day,
cool.
so that will be funny. But the film, you'll see that at some point. But that it kind of threw me out of the normal zone because I wasn't focused on the normal detail stuff.
Yeah.
I was focused on that, so it did throw me a bit. But
It's good to get out of the comfort zone.
oh,
though.
it was great fun. And I actually realized that I didn't really need the gimbal as much as I have been. I don't want to be on gimbals all the time, but
Well, so I've with that new update to the Panasonic, I've basically resigned the gimbal to only if I've got a tight confetti walk because I can put the E-stabilization on before. You used to get like the horrible jello in the corners, especially if you were at a wide angle lens. Because essentially, if you put it onto E-stabilization on high, I think you get a 2 times crop, so it's basically taking like a 20, 40, or 50. So it's just a bit too tight for some confetti walks. But
Yeah.
I mean, I was one-handing it, walking about the city centre on one of the weddings, and the footage is brilliant.
yeah,
It's
it looks
so good.
so stable.
It's wild.
Which is great, and I'm sure that the advances are going to be coming in. I love that compression with a gimbal where you can zoom into like 70mm and just run around someone. You just get that. Oh, it's so beautiful. I'd love that, but yeah, I think just the candid. I like focusing on people a lot, and just sniping them out with handheld is just it feels more intimate. So I'd like to be doing that going forward. So maybe that's my new thing this season, but. Yeah. So what's been happening with you? Any fun news stories?
Pretty much same again. So like Kirsty at this point is not too far away from giving birth to baby number 3.
Due right in the middle of wedding season.
Yeah. But I mean, I'm sure like my couples will be understanding because I will have to take obviously like a little bit of time off, which will push back some of the delivery times. But yeah, I think like all my couples that I have booked and have spoken to are all nice folk, and I'm sure that they'll understand. And some have already said, like, listen, don't worry, kind of thing. So
Yeah.
but I think a lot of it is in your own head as well, because you're like, shit, I need to get this done, and you feel like the pressure internally from yourself rather than externally. So
100%. Yeah, they absolutely will. Especially when they all, because at a weekend you can sometimes be 2 or 3 more into your backlog, and you're like, right, just don't think about that now. We will get to that. But of course, when you've got such a change to your schedule with a new delivery into your family, I mean, I can't relate. I don't know. But it's...
well, I mean, obviously I had the other 2 whilst, we had Frankie basically just as I was starting to get into this, and Harry, I was still working at the time. I would have been, yeah. So I was still working at the time, so it wasn't like as much of a shock because I basically got the paternity leave, and it meant actually I could do a little bit of work, like here and there to catch up, whilst I was kind of dual jobbing at the time. But it's a little bit different this time round. But we'll see. We'll get through it.
So we spoke about what we want to talk about today, and
we did. I think it's a hot topic for right now.
Topic.
And a controversial topic as well.
Controversial to some, for sure. It's this conversation has been had so many times online, negative and positive, and it's time to just start trying to talk about it.
Yeah, I'm game. And it's something actually like a lot of people have actually like commented or DM'd us to chat about as well. Because people do have like kind of difference of opinion on it and stuff.
And I think, there's probably a few of them that actually listen to this podcast too. So if you are one of them, hello. We are in fact talking about content creators.
Yeah, content creators. Have you worked with a content creator?
I have worked with a few content creators now. Yeah, all in a flurry.
Same. Yeah, it all seemed to happen like I had none, and then I ended up working with like 3 or 4 in reasonably quick succession.
And I think that's going to continue to be the case. Obviously, content creators only came onto the scene maybe last year, like 2023 was when they first kind of started, I think.
Yeah.
The definition of a content creator, if anyone can actually define what it is, because I think there's a few variations of what that could be. So what is your understanding of what a content creator is?
The majority of people perceive what a content creator is. It's someone coming out and taking content with their phone. So be that a mixture of videos and photos on their phone.
So someone turning up to your wedding day with a mobile phone.
And more I think my original understanding was it was more BTS.
Yeah, that's how they sell themselves. I mean, content creators will always say they're not there to replace your photographer and videographer, but the natural reaction from most photographers and videographers in the industry was like, well, you're coming to a wedding to take pictures and videos, so how are you not a replacement?
Yeah.
And I think that's where a lot of people have stopped researching into what content creators actually are, because if you go further into it, you'll see that there absolutely is a difference in what they do.
Oh, definitely. And even like, I think if we look at it as well, like the quality that, obviously the quality that you can get out of an iPhone now, or like not just an iPhone, but like any of the kind of main phone, Samsung or whatever, you get like a really, really good picture out of it. Still just not quite comparable. And it's just got a look, you can tell it's been shot on like an iPhone or a phone, rather than, coming out of a camera. So I think it's definitely not there as a replacement. I think it's just there as like an addition, because essentially what it's doing is it's giving that couple that like instant dopamine hit of, post-wedding day, they wake up and, or in that evening, they've got like a whole bunch of stuff that they can relive the day. Because let's face it, your photographers maybe getting their previews out to them. Some do it on the day, some will do it maybe the day after. And your videographer generally, I mean, I've done teasers the day after, but it can be quite hard to do that as like a constant. Do you know what I mean? Because it's just way more time, and that goes into editing a video than just sending obviously like raw and edited clips. Yeah,
100%. Especially if you've got like a double header or something that weekend. You just need a bit of time to recover. So a couple days here and there, but content creators will deliver that on like a Dropbox file within 24 hours. So you will have that dopamine hit immediately, and that is the benefit. I mean, I can only think back to my own wedding where I just got pictures and videos from my friends and family, and they sent us that, and we were scanning through them in the morning. And granted, it's like if you're a guest at a wedding, you're going to take a couple selfies when you arrive, forget a big chunk of the day, and then a couple at night. That's kind of your lot. If you've got someone there taking pictures and videos all day of that stuff, and just you're able to watch that the next day, that was probably the first time that I thought, right,
I get it.
I get it. This is good. It is. We live in this generation where you want that instant hit. You want the instant dopamine.
Yeah.
Can a photographer and a videographer supply that? Absolutely. Am I, having seen the videos and pictures that I've got of friends, am I still looking forward to the photos and videos? In fact, that's different. I did receive pictures from my wedding already within a couple of days. And they were incredibly different to what people caught on their phones.
Yeah.
It's a different look altogether. It's a polished look. And I think the people who in the industry who maybe think of a content creator as someone that is taking the impact away, it's not the same at all. Like, I mean, a video, for example, is a curated version of your wedding. It's put to music. You're taking audio from the speeches and the ceremony.
Color grading.
Yeah, there's a full-on story there. It's an experience to sit down and watch that. Something that you'd probably prefer to watch in a few years rather than flick through your phones. I mean, how many holidays have you been on in your life where you've taken loads of pictures? You don't sit through your phone and look through them. But if there was a film made about that, you'd probably sit down and watch that. Mm-hmm. That's kind of the biggest difference for me.
Yeah.
It's an instant hit.
Yeah, definitely. And I think because content creators, I mean, we've witnessed some of the stuff and like that you see like online, and there's obviously like content creators, some have got like a lot of hate from it, which is just is not on. I think that they've been hired to do a job, I think a lot of it really to minimize any kind of like friction or anything is just communication, as it would be, like with the photographer, because I'm pretty sure as well that when videographers started to become a bit more mainstream, photographers would probably have been looking. I mean, I know for a fact they would have been, because there's some that still don't really like working with videographers that I've worked with before as well, that kind of make it known. But I would imagine that would have been a similar kind of vibe, that photographers would have been like, why is this guy that's coming along on the couple shoot now just like instructing the couple and telling them what to do? Like, I get it from that regard, and because it's a very, very similar in terms of what they do, because they're doing photo and video. It's just quicker and not as polished as you say as like, for instance, a videographer and a photographer. But yeah, demeaning than people or or other vendors, or just not being terribly nice is not the best way to go about things. It's not a good look, to be honest, for you or your business. No. And I think we just need to figure out a way that we can all work together. Again, with the couple with the couple's best interests at heart.
Yeah, 100%. And when you said like photographers were a bit jilted when videographers came in the scene, like, I obviously wasn't part of the first wave of videographers that came about, but when I started, there were photographers that asked me, what am I doing? Like, you are just getting what I'm getting. And I'm like, well, I'm getting a video of them doing that. It's like, oh, like, well, but I'm posting, like, I had throwback when I started, when I started out like over 15 years ago. So
I've had some as well, and I only started in 2020. Like, I've had some that are just like, okay, like, this is how I do things. You go over there, and it's like,
and the same. I've been asked to like leave the portrait session or something, which is all right. That's how they work. It's totally fine. I'll do my own thing. But I think photographers especially, like, they do a lot of posing, they do a lot of things, and that's their creative. Yeah. That is their skill. And I think what they have an issue with sometimes is if a content creator posts that pose before they do, it's like, well, so who's getting credit for that there? And that's probably where the kind of the friction is. Yeah.
There's obviously this little bit of friction sometimes when it comes to when photographers are doing, for instance, or videographers are like doing the posing, and then they've got, for instance, the content creator then taking the video or whatever and of what they're setting up, kind of thing, and then they're sending it first, and then it, I think what content creators really, they have a bit of an opportunity, to be honest, that we don't always have, unless, for instance, that we've got like a second shooter, which is really homing in on, for instance, when we are like taking the couple on the couple shoot or whatever, going and spending time with the guests. I know like you've done something before, I think it was just as part of one of your films where you started interviewing guests with like the kind of the microphone kind of thing, which I thought was really, really cool. And I think that's quite a good opportunity for the content creators to kind of like tap into, because we're not there. Do you know what I mean? A lot of the time.
Yeah.
And that is stuff that I'm sure that the couple would also want to see, because otherwise they've just got 3 versions, for instance, like on a couple shoot kind of thing. And I get it. I also get it why the content creator would also want to be in the couple shoot, because it shots just the couple. Like I get it.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to be able to share that content on their page as well.
Yeah.
But if we're thinking about the overall experience when they're waking up in the morning, from my own wedding, I know when I saw pictures, I didn't just look at me. I zoomed in to people in the background. I wanted to see everyone else's faces at that moment. I wanted to see what they were up to.
Yeah.
That was the first time I realized, okay, that my wedding was about the people that were there. That's the one time that we're going to get these people in a room, and I'm going to have plenty of me, which is great. You're right. They're in such a unique position that they can go and mingle with all the guests and like interview them or play games with them or like have a quiz about the couple that they can do like fun TikTok trends with the you know, maybe not the bridesmaids, but the friends, like the work group, the college group or something like that.
Yeah,
Just
exactly.
Fun pictures that, yeah, at the end of a wedding day, you think, we didn't get that.
Yeah.
Content creator can go in there and say, look, they can really hone in on that.
Yeah. And I think by doing that as well, you then start to offer something different, you know, that we, for instance, wouldn't be doing, you know, because obviously, essentially, if the content creator was to come in the couple shoot, they're getting three different versions essentially of the same kind of stuff, or you know, another version of video and another version of photography, whereas that's, you know, just something completely different that nobody else is doing.
Yeah, I think it's a great opportunity, and I think there would be a lot of demand for it. The content creators are new to the market now, that it's time that you could offer something different and really hone in on that, because people underestimate the importance of what else happens at a wedding. We know sometimes you can, you know, if you go hang out with the guests and get mingling, maybe sometimes there's not much to it happening. But as a content creator, you can be someone that can invigorate that conversation, can ask questions, can and
catalyst for it.
Absolutely, and just get something different for them to wake up in the morning and go, right, what else happened on my wedding day?
Totally.
Because as you say, 3 angles of the same thing, it might be too much.
Yeah,
it might be.
Let's be real. Delivering your wedding films by USB, that's outdated.
We use VidFlow, the sleekest platform for delivering your wedding films. It makes your couples feel like they've got their own private Netflix.
Plus, with their white labeling service, you can customize everything from the branding to your own custom domain to make it super personal.
Want to wow your clients? Use the code TWVP10 for 10% off any of the pro plans, including the white label service.
Head on over to vidflow.co
and level up your wedding film delivery experience. Let's talk about backlog. Editing piles up fast and it's overwhelming.
That's why we use brideandgroom.video, a wedding film editing service that creates stunning wedding films faster without compromising on quality.
They match your unique style, so you still feel like you've made them. And the process is super simple.
Use the code TWVP75 to get £75 off your first order and try out their service.
Clear your backlog and grow your business. Visit brideandgroom.video today.
Hasta la vista, backlog. If I, you know, when doing kind of like content, would be to ask the couple kind of like what are they wanting from it, because you know, I would hazard, I guess the majority would say, you know, go and kind of maybe get guest stuff.
Couples ask us to, like, when I ask couples what they want, they tell me a lot of the time they want to see what the couples are, the guests are up to, and I do
that's
it
the
for
bit they're missing. Yeah.
I do it sometimes, but I then realize like I'm not getting much for a story block here. If I'm thinking about their film, we kind of need the couple shoot because it really ties in with what words are being said at that point. So it really does. That kind of fits in. So it's kind of important, and we've only got opportunity to get that. I would love to have more guests stuff, and I love asking them questions and things if I can do, because that gives me something different. But
that's what I like about having a second shooter all at the time as well, because they can go off and get like, you know, guest stuff whilst I'm on the couple shoot, and that's just, I know that I've got different stuff that I'm not going to get, because there'll be stuff happening there, you know, that you will miss. But yeah, there's so many. There's obviously so many different content creators that are coming onto the market now as well. You know, I know Vicky from Will and Wild, she's obviously created her new one. You've obviously got like the Social Brides Club, they've been out for quite some time. Your Day Unplugged as well. and a whole bunch of other ones they're doing something similar, but it is also quite different. Really like Your Day Unplugged's stuff. Erin, her stuff's really, really nice, quite tasteful, black and white, a lot of her stuff. And also a company that myself and Danny from TLC have set up, which is Cine Socials, but it's just trying to do something just a little bit different to, I guess, what everybody else was doing. And I think that's the key, trying to find like some little kind of niche, because with Cine Socials, it's all shot on cameras, vertically, and then because of it being shot on cameras and not shot on phone, and curated a little bit more, 72 hours to get all the to get the first reel, and then they get a new reel every 24 hours after that. So a little bit of a different spin on the content creator thing, but that was kind of what we wanted. But yeah, I think the more that, for instance, people come into the space and just try something, do something a little bit different, for instance, like you said about going and interviewing guests and just trying to interact with them more to get maybe more stories of the couple, you know, like tell us your best, you know, story about the bride, the groom, or whatever, you know, and then capturing all that to then send to them, I think is just a really, really neat idea.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. I think there's definitely lots of innovation left to be said of them, because there's so many people coming into it. I mean, essentially, quite similar to photography and videography, the entry level to this industry is solo. You can buy a camera and go out.
Most people already have the majority of the tools that 100%, you need.
100%. So I mean, for content creation, if you've got a phone that can capture up to 1,500 images, you can go out and do it. It's and you know, I could see why it would be appealing for some people to go out and do that. There is definitely, like, as you become more experienced in going out and shooting it and understanding what happens in a day and the positions and stuff you need to be in, like the content creators I've worked with, they said, don't worry, I understand not to, you know, like, I understand, like, no, I don't need to stand in certain positions and whatnot.
Yeah, because I think that was what happened, like, for instance, with when I worked with Erin from Your Day Unplugged, I had to say to her, you know, go and get the shot. Do you know what I mean? Like, get it. Whereas obviously I've worked with other ones that are maybe like kind of like right in the way kind of thing, and the complete opposite end of the spectrum. I think a lot of it just comes down to, like I said, you know, and this is, I guess, advice for both videographers and photographers and content creators, is just have a conversation about, you know, how's best to work with each other and what you all need. You know, for instance, it's something that I have this pretty much same conversation with any photographer that I work with, which is to say, you know, listen, don't worry about having to be in front of one of my cameras for a little bit of time. Please don't stand there for the full ceremony or the full speeches. But, you know, get the shots you need to get. If you need to get an aisle shot, go into the middle of the aisle. Like, much to like what Russell said, like, I'm not going to tell you where to go and where to do your job, but I'm just going to, you know, say, this is how I set up. And I know that some photographers and content creators will maybe get their head bitten off by, you know, videographers, and vice versa. You know, and I think the thing that we need to remember at the end of the day is that we've all been hired to do a job for the couple. So let's make sure that we communicate well enough with each other that we can do that job to the best of our ability, and there's no animosity on the day.
Yeah, 100%. It's not about an individual supplier.
No.
Like, because the couple have hired someone else doesn't impact the job that you should be able to do. Yes, if someone stands in front of your shot, is your day ruined? No. Remember what Bronte said. If you've missed like one little thing, but you can get the context of what's going on, you know, it doesn't matter. You've got...
exactly. Because if you've got 3 angles, and
if you've set it up correctly.
Yeah, if you've set it up properly and you've got 3 angles or even 2 angles, you know, and the photographer's in one of them, like, it doesn't matter. You cut to the other angle. Some people will get right with their bee in their bonnet. Oh, they've ruined that shot. And it's like, but you've got the other angle. Now, if there was to be a content creator, 2 photographers, and they're all in your angle, then I get it.
I mean, right? it's happened when a guest has stood in front of one, someone's kicked another.
Exactly.
It does happen. Of course, you know, there's only certain things you can do if you're a solo shooter. But, you know, I think I've heard some people going to the extreme of like putting in their contract that they won't work with another supplier. Like, they have to be the only person that does that. For example, a photographer has to be the only photo, or a videographer has to be the only video. And I understand if they have been hired to get the standard of work that they are expected to deliver, they might think it's an interesting thing to put in that contract. But I personally just can't agree with it. I think if the couple have hired you for the video and they also hire someone else, if you tell them that you cannot deliver what you do, if they get that, then I just don't know. Like, because I mean, guess for me, I know I can work around anything.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Maybe that says less about me. Maybe some people have a different.
I think there is some people that have a different approach to it. I mean, me personally, would I put that in my contract? No. Can I understand why other people would maybe want to do it? I mean, yes, to some degree, but I think really in the grand scheme of things, you can like work around it. I think it just depends on everybody's experience thus far with maybe somebody, especially with, content creators being so new into the industry, because, I've had a couple, I'll be honest, that weren't terribly great, that because they're completely new to the wedding industry, much like I would have been new to the wedding industry when I first started and probably didn't know my do's and don'ts and the proper etiquette of maybe like what to do or where to be kind of thing, or that it was a little bit difficult, I won't lie. But again, I think that all just comes down to experience and communication, that will resolve things like this. I think it's just because it's a really, really new part of the wedding industry, that it's just kind of, for some people, keep me a little bit of a boiling point.
So content creators, they're not going anywhere. This is not a phase.
If anything, to be honest, I think there'll just be more of them.
I think it is the future, really. Does that mean there's not a place for photography and videography? Absolutely not, because they are different.
It's a different product. It's as you said before, with the wedding video or the wedding film, it's curated, it's color graded, it's set to music, it's story driven. Photography as well, it's edited. It's also going to be story driven based on the gallery that they send out. Very artistic, whereas with content creation, it's very much on the fly. It's just capturing like the raw moments.
Yeah.
So it is a completely different product. And I think we kind of just need to like remember that and try and work with each other as best as possible.
To reiterate, the morning after my wedding, if I'd woken up and there was like 1,200 images and videos to go through that were taken from a phone, like that would have just been the best way to carry on that day. Because I know my photographer and my videographer are going to take a bit of time to deliver their kind of standard that I hired them for. But I just wanted an instant hit. I just wanted something more, because you're riding on that high. It's the
hence why content creators were born.
Exactly. There's an absolute need for them.
Yeah.
I can see why they would be useful on a wedding day. And I think, if you are a wedding videographer or photographer and you don't have a content creation add-on in your package, like reach out to some content creators. Maybe they want to partner up with you. This could be something that, clients potentially don't need to go elsewhere to look for. You can team that up and add that into your package as some sort of bumper thing. It might be a really good time to do it, seeing as it's starting out.
Yeah, that's a good point. Because I mean, I think we both, before I came up with the idea or had Cine Socials in full swing, I had it as like an add-on, and had a few people kind of like take me up on it, kind of thing. Slightly different again. But you also done a couple of shoots and stuff, eh?
Yeah, so I actually started a business last July called The Glow Up, and it was born essentially to compete with the content creators. I thought, well, I could see this actually catching on. So I was basically just going out shooting a wedding as normal, but all I would be delivering is vertical reels or vertical clips of the wedding so that they could have that to share. Essentially much the same, but done with a camera. The great thing about it is that I could have added on, and I did, like ceremony speeches, record them in full. But the main purpose of it was content creation. I kind of thought when I shot it that it would be a different experience. And when I was doing it, I couldn't get out of the mindset of a videographer and thinking I'm not getting what I need to here.
Yeah.
I wasn't getting as much fun and stuff. So I don't know, maybe it wasn't the right wedding for me to do it, but would I go back to it? Yeah, I think there's definitely a chance. I can see the demand is going to be there. People want this sort of stuff as we move forward in the TikTok and Instagram reel generation. It's absolutely demand. So, look into it. Don't whenever there's something new comes in the industry, I think people are so quick to just
brother, what's that?
Brother, but embrace it, because I think there's a real opportunity there to, with your skill set, to give your client an additional experience. I think no matter what content the couple see the week of their wedding, it's not a loss of impact.
No.
If you take a picture of a couple and they look beautiful, they're going to love that. And don't take offense. They're going to love it as much as they love the phone picture. They are.
Because it's them.
We know it. It's their wedding. They love that. But the one that's going on the wall is your picture. The video that's going to get played in the anniversary is your video. I think that's fair to say.
Yeah, I mean, I would say so.
We'd love to hear from you. If you're a content creator, or if you've worked with a content creator, like, what are your thoughts on this? Because we know that there's a lot of divide in the market, but I think our opinion is of that. We're big fans of content creators. We think they've got a lot to offer, and we're looking forward to working with loads more in the future, because I think they've got a great place in the market.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, if you are a content creator out there, like, tell us about your experience and so far working with like other kind of vendors. Hopefully it's not all bad. Yeah, certainly for when you come out with Rizzle Films or Afterglow, we will make sure that we all work together.
Just don't stand in front of our shop.